Let's see how the logic of our application is going to work. Once our user comes here the first time, let's say, he registers, we are going to create this user authentication object in our Firebase here, but we are not going to go ahead and create this fuser object. And the reason is quite simple. You may come here, use some kind of email, which not even belongs to you, and then you create a profile. And of course, you cannot access that email in order to verify your email address. And then this user account will be just hanging in our database without the need of it. So the user comes, does it, and then we have this thing just creating place in our database, which we don't want to do this. What instead we want to do, actually in the previous example, later maybe the real owner of that email address will come and try to register, and he obviously can verify his account, and this conflict of accounts will be there. So we don't want to do that. Instead, what we are going to do is, once the user click register button, we are going to create this user authenticated part. And what we are going to do is to save the user details locally in user defaults. And if everything is okay and our user goes back and verifies his email address and tries to log in, once the user puts his data here and clicks login, we are going to go ahead and check three things. First one is if the user is available in our authentication area. If it's available, then we're going to check the second thing. Is the email address verified? If it's verified, then we're going to check the third thing. And the third thing is if the user is already created and existing in our database area. And if it's not there, we are going to save it there. So if it's not there, it means the user is logging in first time after the authentication. And we will just create a user object for him using the local user object that is already saved on the device. So for that purpose, here, once we create a user object, we want to save it in our local database. And to do that, I'm going to create a function here. Let me just get rid of these empty lines and make sure you are doing it outside of this class func here. If you click command and hover on any of the curly braces, it shows you the start and finish. And right now you can see where this class func is finishing, and this is actually where our class is finishing. So inside my class, I'm going to create a function called this save user locally. Like so. And this function, you can call on the user object itself. So I'm going to say here user, the one we just created here, dot save user locally. And this is all we need to do here. We just authenticate the user, create a user object, and save that user locally. I just get rid of these empty lines. All right, so in this function, we are going to just save the user into our user defaults. And to do that, you cannot just go and save a user object into user defaults, because user defaults doesn't allow you to use save any type of objects. Instead, it allows us to use dictionaries, so we can convert our user to a dictionary and save that to our user defaults. So let's write a variable to get a dictionary. So we will going to have another variable which is called user dictionary, and this is gonna be type of NS dictionary. And the reason I'm using NS dictionary and not a dictionary, NS is from Objective-C, because this they are actually same thing. Both of them are dictionaries, but NS dictionary has one handy function that will allow us to write nice clean code here. So this variable is going to provide us a dictionary which will contain all these key values of the remaining variables. So let's say return, because here we are promising that we are going to return an NS dictionary. So I'm going to say return NS dictionary, and I'm going to initialize one with objects and keys. Pay attention, it has two things. The first one is object for key, and the second one is objects for keys, which is what we need. This is plural. So we are going to have an array of all the objects we want to have and array of all the keys. So the dictionary is key value pairs. Our objects are going to be all these variables, and keys we are going to write them so we can get set them and get them. Right, I just hit enter, and this is going to be an array of my objects. And array of keys, I just separate them like this so it's readable. Array of keys, you see it's an array of keys that should conform to NS copying protocol. Let me just make it like this. So we will have all our objects and then all our keys. The objects are easy part. We are going to just copy everything here. So let me copy this and put them here. Let's select my variable, and you can say Control I, and it can fix the indentation. And here I'm going to move this manually by hand. Like so. And instead of this let, var, etc., we are going to have a keyword self. So let me just get rid of them. You can shift option to select multiple things, and you can just say self and just a dot next to our self. And of course we need to get rid of all these parameters with the types. We don't need to have them here. We just get the values and then we put it for each key. Let's use again this multiple cursor. I'm holding shift option and putting my cursor as many times as I want. Alright, and here I just fixed this one. And after each one we need to put a comma. Again, I can use my multiple cursors here, apart of course from the last one. Okay, I forgot to do the rest. The last one is not required. Alright, so I quickly set multiple key. Okay, just put comma. This one is an extra. I just get rid of this. And let's see, the avatar we don't need. I'm going to get rid of that. And this, let's see, liked array, it may be a nil. So we are going to put a default value here. And we're going to put an optional empty array. And same goes for image links. The rest of it looks okay. Let's just select everything and move it on the right side so it's easier to read. And then the keys. So we have set all the objects that we want to save. And now we need to put the keys. And the keys, we are going to create a file that we're going to have all these keys inside. So let's create a Swift file and call these constants. And here we can set all our keys for each of our key value pairs. And the good thing about this constants file is if every time we want to use a key, we would have to type this manually. So in case if you do error, typo there, your code, your key is going to be different than you have saved. So you are trying to access something that is not there, and this may this will give you an error and will crash your application. So that's why by setting these constants will allow us to be able to automatically set this key value, which is going to be like auto-completing for us. So if I just say here, let's just put F user so that we know that these keys are for F user object. And here we are going to write the first one. So say public let and say k object ID is equals, and we say object ID here. And the good thing about this, again, if I try to type k object ID, it's gonna autocomplete for me, and the result is same as if I'm writing object ID all the time. So this is the value that we are passing. It's just it has this autocomplete for us, and this is saving us this typo problem. I'm going to copy paste this quite a few times because we are going to do this for each of our keys. Second one is k email, and the value is email, and then k username, k date of birth, Okay, so I have put all the keys with their values here, which is every time we type this is going to be autocomplete. This is all familiar apart from the current user. The current user we are going to use in order to put it in our user default. So we will put this user object under the name current user. So we will have like a key as current user, and the value is gonna be a big dictionary, which is our user dictionary. Right, make command P. This will build the project, and now you will be able to access these things here. So if we go to these 4 keys part, I'm going to write them one by one. Okay, object ID as ns copying. And remember, the order is very important, because once we create these objects and keys, the first key is for the first object here, and the second key is for second object, etc. Because if you mix the order, you are not going to get the proper values back. I'm going to put a comma here to write the next key, and just copy this ns copying part because I'm going to write a lot of it, so I don't have to type it all the time. Say k email, and we say k username. You see it auto completes, and I don't have to type username manually. K date of birth, k is male, Okay, profession. Okay, job title. Okay, about. Then we have the city. Okay, country. Okay, height. Looking for, and then we have avatar. Avatar link. I guess I am missing one here. Yeah. Let's just copy this, paste it here, and call this K avatar link. Again, Command P, so we have access to that one. Avatar link, and I have to copy this again. Then we have looking for avatar link, liked array. So say okay, liked ID array. Image links, register date, and finally push ID. And we don't need a comma after this one. Just Command build, this error will go away. Just let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18. So we are missing something. Push, we have registered date, image links, liked array, avatar, looking for, height, country, city, about, job title, profession is male, date of birth, username, email, object ID. All right, maybe I didn't count them properly. So it's just Command P, and this error goes away. And this is our user dictionary that we have. And now we can use that in order to save it locally.